Sup YouTube, Captain Fox here, back again with another video, and today we are doing another Star Wars What If, and it's called What If Anakin Realized Chancellor Palpatine was Sidious? Now, this one I had a lot of fun thinking about and getting ready to do. I think this one is really going to be good because, I always wondered, what if he realized that Palpatine was Sidious? Like, what if he realized that? Like, that would have been made, that probably would have been probably a much cooler storyline. Who knows? It could have went places. So, but yeah. So this place, no, not place. What? This story is going to take place on the Invisible Hand, where Obi-Wan and Anakin go to rescue Chancellor Palpatine. As they're on the Invisible Hand, all the things happen, and they get to the bridge where Palpatine is being held in. Now, Anakin is ready to save the Chancellor. He found out that the Chancellor was captured while he was talking to Ahsoka, and he immediately came over there as fast as he could with Obi-Wan. And now that he sees the Chancellor, he does a slight, sigh in relief, and then that's when Count Dooku shows up. Count Dooku flips over and says to the two Jedi, "I'm going to enjoy this," as he lights his lightsaber. Anakin says, "My powers has doubled since the last time we met, Count." And of course, Count Dooku says, "Oh, twice the pride, double the fall." And then the fighting begins. Now, Anakin is going at it, of course Obi-Wan is, and of course Count Dooku, while Palpatine sits in pleasement. He wants Anakin to use his anger to succumb to it, to tap into the dark side once again. He wants Anakin to either arrest or kill Dooku, but mainly to kill Dooku so he can give in to his dark side and start down the path to becoming Vader. But Anakin is, of course, not there yet. He's in the fight with Obi-Wan, and they're both using their combined strength to take on Dooku. Now, of course, like in the movie of Revenge of the Sith, Dooku knocks Obi-Wan to the side and puts the one of the platforms on top of him, and nearly almost crushing him. Anakin kicks him down, and they both start doing another big lightsaber duel. It gets really intense, and they lock. And of course, Count Dooku says, "I sense fear in you, Skywalker. You have hate, you have anger, but you don't use them." And then, of course, the fight continues later on, and then that's when Anakin cuts off Dooku's hands. Now, this is the part that's going to be different, because usually Anakin just cuts off the head of Dooku, and, they get off the invisible hand or whatever. But this is where things are going to be a little bit different. Of course, Chancellor Palpatine will say, "Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now." Anakin, of course, is thinking to do it, but hesitates, of course. He wants to do the Jedi ways and feels something strange. He feels darkness, but not from Dooku, but somewhere else in the room with them. And he begins to realize that he's feeling it from Chancellor Palpatine. Now, Anakin doesn't know Chancellor Palpatine is Sidious, but Dooku did tell Obi-Wan on Geonosis that the Republic was under control of the Sith Lord. Obi-Wan never told Anakin this, but Anakin has his suspicions now. He's confused to why Chancellor Palpatine would want him to kill Dooku, and in fact, the way that he says it is suspicious. Anakin is on edge, and he decides to deionite both his and Dooku's lightsaber and decide to take Dooku in, feeling something is awry. He decides to not listen to the Chancellor and just take Dooku. Now, this, of course, makes Palpatine angry, but he doesn't show it, as to not spoil his plans just yet. He wants Anakin to turn to the dark side, but he realizes he'll have to do it a different way. Now, with this in mind of the dark side being felt from Palpatine, Anakin wonders if something could be connected between Sidious and Palpatine. Could they be the same person, he wondered. But he didn't have enough time to think about it since the invisible hand was about to explode, and he needed to get Obi-Wan, Chancellor Palpatine, and Dooku off alive. Now, he grabs Obi-Wan and they head to the hangar bay, but of course, Grievous stops them and puts them in a ray shield. Now, they're captured, and of course, the usual duel happens begin with Obi-Wan and Anakin trying to get Grievous, but Grievous escapes, and Anakin lands the invisible hand, with Dooku alive. And now with Dooku in their custody, he takes them over, he takes Dooku over to Mace Windu, but the Chancellor insists that he be taken to a Republic prison. Now, Anakin is getting very suspicious here, considering this is a Jedi matter. Dooku was a former Jedi and should be dealt as a former Jedi, a rogue Jedi. And Chancellor Palpatine insists that no, he is a prisoner of the Republic and should be held accountable for his crimes that he had committed against the Republic, including the war that he had started. Now, Anakin is beginning to grow very suspicious here, mainly because he begins to feel something is wrong here. He begins to feel that something is off, and that maybe Dooku and Palpatine have some sort of connection. Now, he begins to talk to Mace Windu about his claims, about his suspicions about this. He said, Master Windu, I've defeated Count Dooku, but when I did, something didn't feel right. When I held lightsabers to Dooku's neck, Chancellor Palpatine wanted me to kill him. And of course, this makes Windu a little bit rattled. He didn't think that the Chancellor would stoop so low. Not to mention, Anakin was treated by Palpatine as like a son. He didn't understand why would Palpatine force Anakin to commit such a crime, especially one that Anakin was obviously not comfortable with. Anakin, on the other hand, begins to have theories and begins to express some of his theories to Windu. Windu begins to think it could be possible that Palpatine and Sidious could be the same person. Although the council only thought that maybe Sidious and Palpatine could be working together, but never really considered the possibility of them being the same person. Now, Anakin decides to go see Padme because, of course, they see each other and talk, and then, of course, Padme reveals the big, happy surprise that she's pregnant, and Anakin, of course, is happy. But just like before in the movie Revenge of the Sith, Anakin begins to have nightmares that is believed that Palpatine could be planting. Palpatine understands that Anakin and not killing Dooku is a big issue, and with Dooku alive, it is a bigger issue that he can expose his plans to the Jedi. And now, Anakin is not in the dark side. He needs to increase the dreams just a little bit more to be a lot more intense than the movie is. Anakin not only has a dream of Padme dying, but has a dream of Obi-Wan stabbing her. It is brutal, as Anakin begins to scream in his dreams and Padme wakes him up violently, trying to wake him up. Anakin jolts up and begins to wonder if the dream could be real. Padme asks him, is he okay? And Anakin just replies, I'm fine, I need some time alone. He goes outside to the balcony to look over Coruscant, and Padme follows behind him, as Anakin wonders if that dream could actually happen. Would Obi-Wan truly kill Padme? What could possibly happen? Anakin decides to do something that he never really quite tried before. He decided to go into meditation to see about his dream. He wondered if it could be of the dark side, since it felt the same way as it did on the Invisible Hand. But for some familiar reason, it felt like Palpatine. It felt like that because Anakin had felt that presence only on the Invisible Hand when he had his lightsaber and Dooku's lightsaber to Dooku's neck, and wondered, could it really be him? Could Chancellor Palpatine really be Sidious? Anakin deep dives into his dream and finds himself in a weird, unfamiliar place, and it's somewhere in Coruscant, but it's dark and dim, and where he sees is a hooded figure. That figure is Sidious. Sidious begins to feel a familiar presence, and the presence is Anakin. He realizes that Anakin can somehow see him and stops his self-alchemy, realizing that his dreams have failed, and understands that Anakin now knows the truth, that Sidious is trying to take hold of him. Anakin begins to realize this, as maybe it could be possible that Chancellor Palpatine could be Sidious, but he isn't just sure yet. The Chancellor has been a friend and a mentor to him for years. How could such a good, kind man be this hideous monster who started the Clone Wars and nearly almost had his wife killed multiple times? Anakin understands that maybe it could be possible. It doesn't quite make sense to why Dooku and Grievous didn't just take off with Chancellor Palpatine when they had the chance on the Invisible Hand. The invasion didn't make sense at all. Was it just to scare them? To show them what they could do? Or was there something deeper going on here? And why did Dooku look so betrayed when Palpatine said to kill him? Something was definitely awry, and Anakin needed to find out what it was. Anakin decided to go to the Chancellor's office the next day and approached him. The Chancellor looked very tired as Anakin began to notice this. Anakin asks him, Chancellor, I need to tell you something. The Chancellor says, "Oh, my boy, you can tell me anything." The Chancellor begins to listen as Anakin tells him that he's been having nightmares. Palpatine understands that his dreams did in fact work, and maybe it could still be a chance to turn Anakin to the dark side and make him his prize apprentice. But with everything going on, he doesn't quite understand why Anakin is doing this or telling him this yet. I mean, he understands that Anakin and them are friends, but something just feels different here. Something doesn't feel quite right. Anakin continues to tell him that he fears that the Sith Lord could be in some sort of plot, a plot to destroy the Jedi. Anakin, of course, does not tell Chancellor Palpatine that he believes that he's Sidious, as this would ruin Anakin's plan. Anakin has an idea, a way that he can reveal Sidious's identity without actually having him to tell him, but maybe there was a way he can lure Sidious into a trap. Anakin decides that he's going to tell Palpatine this, and then hopefully Palpatine might can continue with his dreams. But here's the catch. Palpatine begins to feel that there's something going on here and feels that Anakin is not being all that truthful. Something is definitely happening for sure, no doubt. But this is the part where Palpatine decides that he needs to accelerate his grand plan in order to get Anakin to turn. Now, he can't have Anakin focusing his attention on him. This would be bad, as he's not quite ready yet to actually be his apprentice. Now, he decides to tell Anakin that he's making him his personal representative on the Jedi Council. Anakin, of course, finds this strange. He doesn't exactly understand why the Chancellor would do this, considering, well, the Council wouldn't exactly agree with this. Even he knew of this, and it made Anakin a lot more suspicious, wondering could it really be him. Anakin just nods in agreement and goes to the Jedi Council to tell them this, and of course the Jedi Council rejects him. Anakin is of course upset a little bit, but not too upset, knowing full well this was going to happen sooner or later. Anakin knew that the Council did not trust Palpatine, as they believed that he could be intangible with the Sith Lord, or maybe worse, could be the Sith Lord, considering Anakin told Windu about his suspicions. Windu says to Anakin, "I need to speak to you in private." Windu never fully trusted Skywalker, but in this desperate hour he needed to. He needed to place the highest amount of trust in the boy, and understood that maybe Anakin could be the key to bring down Sidious once and for all. Anakin and Windu talk in private, and Windu asks him, "Listen, I need to tell you something. This is not going to be, well, to your liking." Anakin is already on edge from hearing this and understands that Windu is going to say something that Anakin might not quite agree with. Windu says, "We want you to report back all of the Chancellor's dealings." In the movie Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan is the one to tell Anakin this, but Windu decides to be the one to do so, considering Anakin told him about his suspicions about Palpatine being Sidious. Anakin, of course, is taken aback, but surprisingly, he doesn't get all that mad about it. I mean, he understands this. He knows that it's treason, but knows that it could be the key to catching Sidious. Anakin is determined to end this war once and for all, and to be with his wife Padme, especially for when their baby arrives. Anakin says, "I understand, Master, and I will report back everything that I see and hear." Windu is slightly taken aback by this, and finds himself to be a little bit more confident in Skywalker, considering Anakin has not always been that compliant with the Council. Anakin decides to go his separate ways, and gives Windu a bow before leaving. Fast forward a little bit later to where Anakin and Palpatine meet each other at the opera. Anakin and Palpatine are now in the opera speaking to each other when Anakin begins to express his frustrations with the Jedi Council. But this isn't actual frustration. Of course, he's always dealt with frustration with the Council in the past, but this is simply a ruse to get more information out of Palpatine. and he begins to feel that maybe this could work, that maybe this could lure him deeper into saying something that he shouldn't. Anakin is listening in intently as Palpatine begins to tell him about the tale of Darth Plagueis. Anakin, of course, in this moment is immediately awry, wondering what exactly could this possibly mean. He listens intently as Palpatine begins to tell him about the tale of Darth Plagueis, about how he cheated death and how he can avoid others from cheating death as well. Anakin realizes something. He had a dream a couple nights ago about Padme dying and has still been having them. And now, Sidious was telling him the perfect thing to solve all of Anakin's problems. Something was definitely not right here, and he knew right then and there that it had to be him. Anakin immediately stood up and ignited his lightsaber, but quickly understood that this was a wrong move considering he was in an opera full of people, but his impulsive and anger got to him just in that moment. "It's you," he says to Palpatine. Palpatine realizes that he's been caught, and Palpatine stands saying, "Yes, it is me, my boy. I have watched you for many years now, wondering why do you even listen to the Council? The Council constantly holds you back from achieving your full power greater than any Jedi. Use my teachings from the dark side, and you can save your wife from certain death." "What did you say?" Anakin replies. "Use my knowledge, I beg you," Palpatine replies, and Anakin finally gets upset with this, being angry that the Palpatine that he knew was not real, that it was all an illusion, just to tip him further into anger, to tip him always on the edge to the dark side. Anakin swings his lightsaber as Palpatine ducks, igniting his. Anakin realizes that Palpatine had his lightsaber with him this entire time, and it's only made Anakin more angry, but Palpatine smiles at him in reply. "Anakin, look at you. Your power is great. It is strong in the dark side. It can be used for more than just being a pawn in the Jedi Council. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as master and apprentice." Anakin yells, "No, never," as he swings more at Palpatine, realizing that maybe his dreams were illusions, that maybe it was all Palpatine, as he begins to remember seeing the dark figure who was doing some sort of maybe ritual in a cauldron. It had to be Palpatine. Sidious was Palpatine. The fight began like no other in the galaxy. The force was strong between the light and the dark side. It could be felt through the galaxy and felt on Coruscant, no doubt. The Jedi began to feel the familiar presence of something going on, the familiar presence of powerful beings clashing together, light and dark, trying everything that they can to overcome the other. Anakin and Palpatine were going at it toe-to-toe, as people in the opera saw this and witnessed Palpatine with a red lightsaber, as he began screaming and evacuating, realizing that Palpatine had to be the Sith Lord. Anakin is of course going at it full throttle, anger powering him through the battle. Palpatine, of course, is not really fazed by this, as he begins to parry Anakin's strikes with unlimited power. Anakin and Palpatine enter a lightsaber lock, and Palpatine says to Anakin, "Look at you. Use your power. Use the dark side, and only then you can defeat me. Only then will you be able to achieve the power to save your wife. Look at what the Jedi have done to you. You are nothing to them but a puppet to be used over and over again. They didn't help you save your mother. They wouldn't help you at all. They would probably kill Padme for you two even being together." Palpatine is using everything that he can to get Anakin to his side, but Anakin is not listening. Anakin knows that it's all a part of the Sith's trick and realizes that this has been his plan all along since the day they met on Coruscant. It's like Palpatine said to him the first day they met, "We'll look over your career with great interest." Anakin swings with power-hungry strikes, aiming to kill the Sith Lord, but Sidious is too quick and too smart and too cunning to be taken down by Anakin. Anakin has pushed Sidious back so far that Sidious is beginning to grow tired of these games. As Anakin goes in for the killing blow, Sidious quickly sidesteps and removes Anakin's hand that is robotic. Anakin grows in pain as Sidious shoots lightning at him, electrocuting him down to the ground. Anakin is writhing in pain as Sidious yells, "You could have been so great! You could have been the most powerful Sith Lord in the galaxy. And you will be. You will be mine, Skywalker." Sidious begins to laugh, looking at Anakin as he struggles to get back to his feet, calling him pathetic for not using the dark side to save himself. Anakin doesn't listen to the Sith Lord's seductions. He refuses to listen to anything he says, knowing full well that everything he's known from Sidious is a lie. Everything that he knew Palpatine to be, the kind-hearted man who loved the Republic, who loved him as a son, was all a lie. Nothing but just manipulation to get close to him and use him for his power. Anakin writhes on the floor, but gets back to his feet and grabs his lightsaber with his non-robotic hand, and uses it to block the lightning and deflect it back at Palpatine. Palpatine flies back, feeling the surge of electricity through his body, realizing, how is this possible? How could he do this? Anakin rises to his feet and launches at the Sith Lord. Anakin only has one hand, but Anakin decides that it doesn't matter. He needs just one to defeat Sidious. Anakin goes back at it with Sidious, blow for blow. It is being extremely hard for the two of them to stay up, considering they're both suffered extreme injuries. But it doesn't matter. This was a fight for the galaxy, and Palpatine decided that maybe he didn't need Anakin, that he needed to just kill him and execute Order 66 on the Jedi. As Anakin and Palpatine go at it, the Jedi Council enters the room, realizing the chaos that's been going on, feeling the darkness ripple through the room. It's not the entire Jedi Council, but with Windu. Windu rises up and goes down to meet Skywalker, seeing him fighting Palpatine. Palpatine is surprised and realizes he can't take on both Windu and Skywalker by himself and shoots lightning at him. But Anakin and Windu grab their lightsabers at the same time, deflecting it back at Palpatine. Just like in The Rise of Skywalker, Anakin and Windu shoots lightning back at Palpatine, disintegrating him. The Sith Lord screams in defeat, realizing he had lost, and finally explodes. There is nothing left of him but his battered robes and lightsaber. Anakin is weak, and Windu realizes that he needs to take Anakin to a medical bay right away. Anakin passes out, and then things go black. It's been days since the fall of the Sith Lord. Anakin finally wakes up to see Padme with two children, Luke and Leia. Padme looks to Anakin and says, "It's been a couple of days, and you're finally awake now." Anakin looks at his hand that has been replaced with another robotic hand. It is sad for him to know that Palpatine was the Sith Lord and that everything he knew about his father figure was nothing but a lie, but realized that it was for the greater good that he was destroyed. It was far too dangerous to be kept alive. Anakin sees Windu, who congratulates him on what he has done and told him that the Council has made him master, and the Senate has been given evidence of Palpatine's deceit, considering there were security cameras in the opera, and the opera clearly showed Sidious with a red lightsaber, being Palpatine. The Senate was in uproar as they made Mon Mothma the new Chancellor of the Republic. It was becoming a little bit brighter for the Republic as the Clone Wars had been won by Obi-Wan and things were a lot more different. Things were going to change, and Anakin decided to step down from the Council and step down from being a Jedi altogether, and decided to move with Padme to Naboo to raise their children. And that is all for our story of what if Anakin realized Palpatine was Sidious. And this was, I love this one. I think this one was a lot more better. I think the storyline made a lot more sense. I hope so. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like, subscribe, hit that bell. Peace out, everybody. God bless.